What's up? Welcome in. Today's San Francisco 49ers report is presented by Roan. If you're looking to add to your wardrobe, add to your closet, Roan is where it's at. 20% off the commuter collection at roan.com/chatsports. Look at how flexible the fabric is here. Absolutely fantastic, and all of their products very comfortable as well. Roan.com/chatsports, promo code chatsports. On today's show, put together some San Francisco 49ers trade ideas, basically tapping into some of the 49ers trade rumors that we've heard about all throughout this offseason. We're getting creative, going into that mental bank. We're having fun on today's show, and it's going to be an open-minded one at that. Before we dive into all of this, make sure you subscribe for year-round coverage of the San Francisco 49ers. By the time you're watching this video, I'm in Key West, probably on the beach, looking at some nice ocean water, but the content does not stop here on the 49ers Report. We're all about that grind and that hustle. Help us get to 81,000 subscribers. Shout out to Terrell Owens in the process, and subscribe for the best Niners content here on YouTube. So without further ado, Trey Lance trade rumors, a big topic of conversation throughout this offseason for San Francisco. And with that, put together this trade for Trey Lance. He goes to the Tennessee Titans for a 2023 third-round pick in the NFL draft at the end of April here, coming up the final Thursday of this month. That's 72 overall. So I think that that's a pretty solid pick to get back for Trey Lance, because you don't make a selection in this draft until 99 overall. You can get a pretty good right tackle there. You could go best player available. And then also you get a fifth-round pick, 147 overall in the fifth round. Unfortunately for Trey, you moved up in the first round in 2021 to take him by mortgaging 3 draft picks away. You're not getting anything close to those types of draft picks and that draft capital. But 2 picks, third and fifth round, I think it's pretty solid value there for a player who's only made 4 starts in his NFL career. Why it makes sense for the Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill is what he is. He's like Jimmy Garoppolo, right? There's a ceiling over his head. He can only do so much. He's a middle-tier quarterback who I would define as mid. Malik Willis, he stinks. We saw that last year. Good athlete coming out of Liberty, just not a consistent thrower of the football. And lastly, most notably, Rand Carthen, the former director of pro personnel for San Francisco, came to this front office for the Niners in 2017, was there until this offseason, took the general manager job with the Tennessee Titans. He's brought in Daniel Brunskill. He signed Azeez Al-Shire. He signed Arden Key. What does that tell you? Paper trail of former Niners following him, and could Trey Lance be one of those guys and be their franchise quarterback as they start anew with a new franchise building block? Why it makes sense for the Niners conversely. If San Francisco is comfortable that Brock Purdy is their franchise guy, especially considering how he played at the end of last year, why not get some value for Lance? You want an expensive backup who's never ideally going to play behind Purdy, and then you'll lose him at some point because he's going to go somewhere else to try to start for nothing. Why don't you get some value back? Then you draft a quarterback in this year's draft, and you have Sam Darnold as your backup who has a lot of starts under his belt. Some thoughts on Lance here and why he's appealing to Tennessee. Turns 23 in May, great size, good athleticism. Tennessee probably looks at a quarterback with untapped potential, unlike Ryan Tannehill, who's basically maxed out at this point. For Tennessee and for San Francisco, have to figure out if he can play. 21 starts since 2019. Needs to iron out the wrinkles on some of those accuracy issues. So you look at this trade once more. Third and fifth round pick for Trey Lance to Nashville. Great city, by the way. If you're looking to party on Broadway, would you make this trade? TT for Trade Trey. KT for Keep Trey. Let me know. Share your thoughts down in the comment section. We appreciate your feedback. Now, as I mentioned off the top of the show, the 49ers Report today is presented by Roan. Their commuter collection is what you are currently missing in your closet. We're talking the world's most comfortable dress shirts like I'm wearing, golf polos, quarter zips, as well as pants. And the commuter collection, it can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Whether it's hosting shows here on the set at Chat Sports, playing 18 holes of golf, night on the town with my boy Trizzy Trace, going out on a date, whatever. Head to roan.com/chatsports. Make sure you plug in the code chatsports to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/chatsports and use the code chatsports. It's time to find your corner office comfort. Or for our guy Sperry here, he took his girl out to an old Italian steakhouse. The dinner was great. The after dinner was great because he was rocking some Roan gear. Roan.com/chatsports. Promo code chatsports. 20% off. The link is available in the comment section and in the description of this video. Sperry. Trade idea number 2. Brandon Aiyuk to the New York Giants. There's been a lot of buzz that New York has wanted to upgrade at wide receiver, find a number 1 wideout, and I think they're one of the reported teams that has called the San Francisco 49ers about Brandon Aiyuk. So in order to get a player of this caliber who could still, if you exercise his 5th-year option, have 2 years left of team control, and then you sign him to a contract extension, you have to mortgage some good draft capital. And for the Giants, you give up 25th overall. You're not going to get a better player at 25th than Brandon Aiyuk, in my opinion. Now, I would not make this trade if I was the San Francisco 49ers. More thoughts on that. But why it makes sense for the Giants. They desperately need a number 1 wide receiver for Daniel Jones. They made it into the second round of the NFL playoffs with Isaiah Hodgins as their number 1 target. They've reportedly shown interest in BA, and they can afford to pay him in the future. And they're trying to figure out if Daniel Jones is that franchise quarterback. They signed him to that extension. 4-year deal. It's basically a 2-year deal, though. Give him a weapon to see what he can do with an actual legitimate supporting cast, as well as a great running back in Saquon Barkley and some other good weapons at tight end, solid offensive line. Why it would make sense for the 49ers. The Niners don't have a first-round pick, and they can get a premium plug-and-play starter there that's affordable on a team that doesn't have a lot of money to pay. And already, the 49ers are paying Deebo Samuel that large contract that he signed last offseason, as well as other high-level players. So why Aiyuk has been involved in a lot of NFL trade discussions is because a lot of people envision, if you're paying Deebo, you're not going to be able to pay Brandon Aiyuk $20 million, or more, and that's probably going to be the going rate for Aiyuk if he continues his ascension. Because every year that he's been in the NFL, that rise has continued. 2020 as a rookie, he gets drafted out of Arizona State, 60 catches, 768 yards, 5 touchdowns. 2021, really good once again, 56 catches, 826 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And in 2022, a career high in grabs with 78, career high in yards with more than 1,000, career high in touchdowns. If he were featured more heavily in an offense, I think we're talking about a wide receiver who, if he was the number 1 option and not in a run-first scheme, could be a 1,400 per year wide receiver as far as receiving yards. He's a goal-line-to-goal line player, slippery in the open field, delicious route running, fantastic footwork. And if I'm the 49ers, I'm doing everything to keep him. He's still young. You still have him under team control for the next 2 years. You have a Super Bowl window right now, and I believe he's the most slept-on wide receiver in the NFL who has the potential to be a top 10 guy. So would you do this deal considering everything that we uncovered here and some of the financial constraints that the Niners might have? Type LGB for Let's Go Brandon, Keep Aiyuk, or type NYG for, you'd make that trade with the Giants. Lastly, trade idea number 3. A lot of people are not happy with the lack of production from Javon Kinlaw. So how about you send him to the Las Vegas Raiders, because you know every single year they're going to be dysfunctional. They're never going to do anything. And you get a little bit of value back from a former rival in the Las Vegas Raiders, who I guess is a current rival too, even though they're in Vegas and they were never faithful to the Bay. Niners receive a 5th-round pick. Unfortunately, just like the Trey Lance trade, Kinlaw hasn't played that much, a lot of it because of injuries. Production hasn't been there for a former first-round pick. Trey Lance hasn't played all that much. You're not going to get good value back for a guy who has 4 NFL starts under his belt, and you get a 3rd and a 5th for Trey and a 5th for Javon Kinlaw. Why it makes sense for the San Francisco 49ers, why it makes sense for the Las Vegas Raiders. For the Raiders, their defensive tackle room, it ain't good. Kinlaw would walk in there and be a starter if he's able to pass his physical and stay healthy. Why you get that late round pick, also because Kinlaw has had some injury issues, as I said. Right now, for the Raiders, along that defensive line, at defensive tackle, they have Jerry Tillery, who up to this point has been a bust, and Bilal Nichols as their starting defensive tackles. Javon Kinlaw, no doubt, better than both of those players and has some potential as he heads into year 4. Why it makes sense for the Niners now. San Francisco signed Javon Hargrave. He had 11 sacks last year. You brought him in, 4-year, $84 million contract. He's going to start, and so too is Eric Armstead. So Javon Kinlaw is making a lot of money to be a backup. Send him to the Raiders. He gets to start, and maybe, just maybe, he can salvage his NFL career, and you can recoup a draft pick for a guy who's basically done nothing for you for San Francisco. Who wins the trade? 3 trade ideas. This is the last one in particular. Let us know what you think about this deal here. R for the Raiders, 4-9 for the San Francisco 49ers. Also, the Niners, they have pretty good depth at defensive tackle. Maybe they can address that in the NFL draft. And a name to keep an eye out for, Kalia Davis, the late round pick out of UCF last year. Appreciate y'all for watching. We'll catch you next time here on the show.